Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I kind of want to have a look at the last month of the old RuneScape market, just looking at some interesting price changes or certain updates that are going to affect items in the future. Specifically, I'm going to look at the Kebos Lowlands update, which is scheduled for January 10th, I believe. So only about 2 or 3 weeks away. I am not going to be giving any investing advice. I'm just going to be looking at the items, looking at what direction the prices are going, and you can just make your own assumptions based on that. Anyway guys, hope you enjoy and let's get started. So to begin with here, we have the dragonbone necklace. The dragonbone necklace will be able to be combined with the new Hydra tail drop, as well as a bone crusher. But let's have a look at the dragonbone necklace right now. Most people consider it to be pretty well useless, and they're pretty well correct. There's only a few kind of niche uses where you can use it in maybe Suquas or a few specific Slayer tasks. However, it's very rare that you'd want to sacrifice offensive stats for your amulet slot with something that is prayer oriented like the Bone Crusher necklace. Now I think regardless, this item is probably likely to go up because it's not traded very much and it has not risen that much since the update was announced. It was 260k back in September, now it's, well, 400k, which is not really that much considering it's a rare drop from Revenants, and on release it was worth like almost 100 mil. It seems like based on this graph, other people think that the item will not be worth much even as an upgraded necklace. All it will really do is save one inventory slot because you don't have to equip the Bone Crusher. It'll probably be equally as useless. Next up here we have the Holy Sandals. The Holy Sandals can be combined with the Drake Tooth to create the Devout Boots. Currently the Holy Sandals give a prayer bonus of 3 and the Devout Boots will give a prayer bonus of 5. So it is a direct upgrade to the Holy Sandals, and the Holy Sandals will be consumed in the process. So I think accordingly we can see that the price of Holy Sandals has rose up quite a bit, from about 450 back in September all the way up to around 1 mil currently. I think it's probably likely to go up further, especially on the release date. As we get down to these lower level Slayer monsters, I think that the price is more likely to rise up quickly on the release date because items will be more common. And while you will need to get a specific Slayer task, there will be a lot of people completing this content because these drops are going to be so valuable on day 1. Next up here we have the zamorakian hasta, which will be combined with the Hydra Claw to create the Dragon Hunter Lance, which probably is going to be an extremely valuable item. It's going to be kind of like the Dragon Hunter Crossbow, except for melee. Over the last month, it's gone up from about 12 mil to, well, we're sitting about 16 mil right now, but that's still quite a bit up from back in September where it was at about 9 mil. So it looks like it's pretty much looks like it's consistently going to be rising up until the Kebos Lowlands release date. And this is going to be very interesting to watch because we all know how the Dragon Hunter Crossbow went. If it happens to be as useful as a Dragon Hunter Crossbow, it's likely that both items will drastically raise up in price. Let's have a quick look at the Dragon Hunter Crossbow right now over the last year. Now the main reason this has become so expensive, 173 mil, it's insane, is, well, mostly because they're releasing content that fits perfectly, or at least is relatively best in slot at. Exactly 1 year ago on December 20th, it was worth 30 mil, and everyone then thought that was way too expensive. And now we are 1 year later, it's at 172 mil, which it probably makes it one of the items that has rose up the most over the last year, or at least by the highest percentage. Okay, and one last item that we forgot about in the Kebos update is the Dragon Thrownaxe. This is actually getting moved from the Chambers of Zarak drop table to now to the Brimstone area to be a global drop in the area. So I'm assuming this is going to tank the item by quite a bit because it's probably going to be common enough as a global drop, and there's going to be so many more accounts that have access to this content as opposed to the Chambers of Zarak. Right now they're valued at about 4,000 each. If we look back over the last year, they haven't changed in price that much. I think a pretty good assumption is that they're going to crash with the release of the Kebos Lowlands, unless they just happen to be extremely rare for whatever reason, but I think that's kind of unlikely. Okay, so we're going to move on from the Brimstone update now. Let's have a look at the rest of the Kebos Lowland update. To begin with here, we have the Battle Staff. Now this is an interesting one because with the new patch available at level 85 farming, you can now farm for Battle Staff essentially. You'll be able to fletch the Celestrous wood into a Battle Staff at level 40 fletching as well, which is pretty low level for fletching. I would say it's possible that Battle Staffs will crash a little bit, but probably not a whole lot. However, I guess it is possible that if enough people are farming them, the Battle Staffs could drop down to around 7,000 each, making the diary almost worthless, as well as quite a few money making methods where you buy the battle stats from the shop. However, I think that's pretty unlikely. Moving on to Potato Cactus, this is going to be a new farmable item with the Farming Guild update. Right now the main way people get Potato Cactus is from Calphite Queen, picking them up off the ground, or from Nightmare Zone. Now my guess is the majority of people right now who are making Potato Cactuses are Ironmen, and I'm basing that assumption off of the GP per XP for potato cactus is quite a bit higher than, let's say, the ranging potion, which is almost at the exact same level. That being said, when potato cactuses become farmable, I'm assuming the price is going to drop quite a bit because people will still be doing it for the new content or the potential experience rates that it might offer. One caveat is they're going to be deleting it from the Nightmare Zone shop. However, Ironman couldn't buy it from there anyway, so it seems unlikely that many people were buying potato cactuses from the Nightmare Zone shop because it's always going to be more profitable to just buy the herb boxes. So I don't know, I think this item will probably go down still because farming will bring quite a bit of them into the game, but probably not by a substantial amount, would be my opinion. Another item we have to look at is snape grass. Snape grass is going to now be a farmable item as well. Snape grass is also obtainable in the Nightmare Zone shop, but will be removed with the introduction of the farming guild. I wouldn't expect this item to change in price that much. It's hard to say because it is getting removed from the Nightmare Zone shop, but also it is getting introduced via farming. This would kind of go either way because it's hard to say how many were coming to the game via Nightmare Zone, probably a lot. And last up here is the Redwood logs. Now, Redwood logs don't really have much of a use. You can see here the buying quantity was 12 and the selling quantity was 12,000 almost. The only thing I think you can use it for is fire making. So there's going to be a new Redwood tree available now, and it seems possible that because it's pretty close to a bank, people will grow the Redwood tree just to chop down. However, I think the majority of people will still be doing it for experience, so I think it's likely that the Redwood logs will crash further, but it's not going to be a huge influx of Redwood logs because I think most people are still going to do it for XP farming. If we have a look over the last year, Redwoods have actually gone up a bit over the last 6 months pretty well. I would expect that to crash down maybe back to 220 or even further. Anyway, that's pretty much it for existing items in the game that could be affected by Kebos Lowlands. Of course, whenever we receive a major update, especially one focused on combat, PVM, or bossing, most PVM gear will go a little crazy. It will increase in price quite a lot and eventually will crash back down after the update. We have a quick look at the Bandos chestplate. It's up 3 mil this month. The Bandos task hits, once again, rising up from 30 mil to 34 mil. All this stuff is just going to continually go up until the Kebos Lowlands update, and will most likely crash after some people figure out what the meta is at those monsters, or as more people complete the content. So that's pretty much a quick overview of how Kebos Lowlands is going to affect the marketplace. In my opinion, I may not be right about this. So with that out of the way, I kind of want to have a quick look over, well, December, and just have a quick look at what is happening or has happened this month. So to begin with here, I just want to have a look at a few items from the Theater of Blood. So let's have a quick look at the site of Viter. So it is finally down below max cash stack, as it was, I think, when I did my last update video, and it's pretty much been crashing ever since. It's down to about 1.2 bill right now, and it's been below max cash stack for only around 3 months. So it seems like the pure rarity of the item was the main thing that was keeping it above max cash stack. Obviously, it's an extremely useful weapon. However, it probably does not have as many applications as the Twisted Bow does, so it's probably going to continue to crash below 1 bill, I would imagine. Now, if we have a look at the Justiciar set, it seems like it's actually on the rise. There's been a lot of talk about the Justiciar armor getting buffed, or at least changed to be more useful, because most people think it doesn't really fit into the current meta right now, because all it offers is pure defensive stats, and they could make some tweaks to make that more viable, but generally most people favor offensive stats over defense, because if you're going into a boss, you will probably still take less damage if you have lower defense, but you have more DPS output, so you'll actually be killing the monster quicker, thus reducing the amount of food you need and the amount of damage that you are taking. So the completed Justiciar armor set dropped down to as low as 65 mil, and it's now on the rise back up to about 120 mil. Again, I think this is pretty much speculation. A lot of people are hopeful that the item will get buffed, and that does seem pretty likely because that's very cheap for a rare reward from the Theater of Blood. The individual pieces for the Justiciar set are by far the cheapest. So yeah, I would keep an eye on the Justiciar set and really just have a look at all the raids items overall. One thing I kind of like to look at often is the price of bonds. Old RuneScape bonds have been extremely cheap for quite a while now. So if we have a look at the full year graph on GTracker, we can see a year ago, the bonds were actually pretty comparable in price, around 3 mil. However, if I recall correctly, just a month before that, they were up to around 4 mil once again, and they crashed pretty much at Christmas. Where here they have crashed kind of with the release of mobile, which was on October 30th. They went from around 4 mil down to 3 mil, where I think had that update not come out, they would have remained at 4 mil or even higher up until the holidays, and then in January, they might have crashed down, but probably not as much as they will now. So bonds could drop below 3 mil. I'd say the lowest around 2.5 mil, but potentially 2 mil. I doubt it though. So sometime around then is probably the best time to buy bonds, whether it be for just getting membership or starting alts or anything like that. Now, speaking of the release of mobile, some items just never have recovered. Now, there's quite a few of them in the free-to-play game mode, but some of the more notable ones are iron ore, oak logs, and wines of Zamorak. These are kind of 3 staple free-to-play money-making methods. For iron ore, back in October, they were valued at close to 200 GP each, and they're down to, well, 143, and they kind of just continue to crash further and further. Same thing can be said for oak logs. Oak logs were valued at about 120 at the release of mobile. They're down to 30 right now. And I don't think it's very likely that they'll go back up because not many people need oak logs, and before this update they were valued at about 20 or 30 as well. Same thing for Wine of Zamorak. Wine of Zamorak is at one of its lowest points of all time. It was valued at about 2,000 each with the release of mobile. Now it's worth around 1.6k. If we have a look back over the year, it is at its lowest point ever. And it seems unlikely to change because Wines of Zamorak is one of the most consistent and best free-to-play money-making methods. Unless they make a change to it or reduce botting somehow, it's probably not likely to change. And last up here, let's have a quick look at party hats. So with the release of the Christmas event, a lot of party hats are coming into the game. At the end of the event, everyone gets a set of party hats as well as a Christmas cracker and the holiday reward. So most of them have dropped down to below 10k or actually around 7k, except for the blue party hat, which is more expensive because it combines to create the party hats and specs. But still, these items are likely to crash more, I think all the way up until the new year most likely. On December 13th, it jumped up to 5,000 from 400. That's around 10 times more. However, I wouldn't start buying party hats yet because they're likely to crash even more. Back in December last year, they're worth about 3.2k each. I would hold off until January and then maybe I'll stock up on some party hats. I did it last year. Didn't end up selling them at the right time or anything, but it's kind of fun to try. One kind of unique thing that happened this year is there was kind of some speculation that rare items might become discontinued again. Right around here, you can see the blue party hat is a great example of this. This item got ridiculously expensive, up to like, I think it was up to 300k at one point, which I wouldn't expect that to happen last year, but ooh, I wish I had sold it then. Anyway, guys, that is about it. Those are just kind of some interesting price trends I was looking at over the last month. If you have any items that I missed or anything else that was interesting that happened in the old RuneScape marketplace this month, let me know with a comment down below. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.